Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This Shabbos is a very special Shabbos, Parshat Vayeitzei. The Shabbos in which we go into the month of Kislev, the month of light, the month of miracles. It's the month of Hanukkah, and it's a parsha of many different aspects of the stories of Yaakov and his sons. We find one very unique episode that happens in this week's Torah portion, and that is the story of Reuven. Reuven's coming from the field, and he goes out of respect for his mother. He goes out to find her these very special mandrakes, which were a fertility plant, an ancient way of fertility, and has worked well for Leah. Leah has the most children for Yaakov. Ultimately, Leah has 6 of her own children, as well as brings to Yaakov the most tribes. And he's coming back with these mandrakes, and Rachel, who is barren, who isn't able to have children, with difficulty. She has Joseph, and later on Benjamin. In her childbirth, she dies having Binyamin, and ultimately only gives 2 sons to Yaakov from the 12 tribes. And Rachel sees that Reuben has these mandrakes. He says, "Please give me these mandrakes so I can become fertile, so I can give children to her husband Yaakov." And what does Reuven say? Right away, Leah sees the situation, and Leah turns to Rachel and says, "You took away my husband from me, and now you also want to take away my mandrakes." If you remember the story of Rachel and Leah, it wasn't exactly the case. Yaakov loved Rachel. That was the first love. She was swapped with Leah in the accordance of the rules of Lavan. Lavan was a trickster, and he said, in our town, we don't let the younger one, Rachel was the younger one, to go before the older one. But ultimately, Yaakov worked his life to marry Rachel, and after he was switched on Leah, he continues to work to marry Rachel. And so Rachel is his real first love, is the real love of his life, whereas Leah is ultimately his second wife, if you want to say. Nevertheless, and so he spent most of his time with Rachel. And so Rachel tells Leah, "I will give you I will give you Yaakov for tonight, in lieu of you giving me the mandrakes." And so what seemingly happens to be something positive from Reuven doing for his mother creates a conflict between Rachel and Leah. Later on, we'll see that when Yaakov gives the firstborn blessings, he doesn't give it to Reuven. He skips over Reuven, and he says, "Because you switched my beds." It was this exact story that he says that he doesn't give the firstborn blessings. Why wouldn't Yaakov give the firstborn blessings to Reuven? Because of this one episode where he was trying to help out his mother, and ultimately created a little conflict between the sisters. But he doesn't, ultimately, he's the firstborn. And then later on, by the story of Joseph, Reuven, what happens with Joseph? Joseph is put into the pit, and it says that Reuven had in mind that he tells his brothers, "Let's put him into the pit instead of killing him." And he has in mind, one of the places says he has in mind that when his brothers leave, he'll come back and get him. He comes back and he's gone, because his brothers sell him off to the gypsies. And so again, Reuven tried to do something good. His brothers wanted to kill Joseph. He was the firstborn. He was in charge, and therefore he had to protect him. And ultimately, Reuven had to try to do something good. But again, he wasn't there at the moment, and he missed the opportunity to do something good. And his intentions were good, but his actions never worked out because Joseph was already gone. Later on, by the story of Joseph, where Joseph takes Benjamin, and Yaakov doesn't want to send lose a third child to Egypt, Reuven says, "Take my 2 sons and kill them if I don't bring back his brother." Why would Yaakov want to kill Reuven's sons? Reuven was his son, his 2 sons were his grandsons. Which grandfather wants to kill his sons? And so Reuven is a pattern. He's always trying to do something good, but he never actually gets a job done. He never has the action. Whereas Yehuda, who gets the firstborn blessings, Yehuda says, "I'm going to go down and I'm going to bring them back up." And the story of Yehuda and Tamar, he takes responsibility. And so not only does he sometimes doesn't do the cleanest way with the story of Yehuda and Tamar, which is for another discussion at that Shabbos, but he takes responsibility. And furthermore, he always gets the job done. And so it teaches us a very powerful lesson. A lot of times we might have good intentions. We have good intentions and good thoughts and good ideas, but if we're not ready to take action, if we're not there to take action, and we can sit and plan and think and have great ideas and big ideas, It's a lot of people with big ideas, but they don't actually get the job done. But it's the people that get the job done that become the true leaders. And that's why Yehuda becomes a true leader and teaches us, Hamaiso Ikar, we got to get the job done. So we go into the Shabbos, may God bless us with a lot of light and bring light into this world, a world which has tremendous darkness. God willing, will soon be lit up with the light of the ultimate menorah, the coming of Mashiach very soon our day. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.